part of our weekly Vicinanza Studios and Gallery video blog, where we interview poets and artists. We talk about techniques, we show some how-to videos, and today we're talking to local artist, Patti Maher. Welcome to the video program.
Thanks for having me.
So you've been one of the featured artists in the gallery, and we still have several of your pieces on display, permanent display in the gallery. And you were kind enough to bring in a couple of extra pieces for this discussion. So really when we do a conversation with a local artist, what we're looking to understand is, how long have you been doing this? What is your primary style of artwork? Why are you an artist? So let's start there, kind of like why, how, when did you get started? And I'll let you run with that for a few minutes, and then we could talk a little bit more about specific technique.
Okay. Well, my family has been, I'll start with, my sister was my mentor, and she was an artist from a very small age, and she was 4 or 5 years older than I was. And she could go to a theater or something and then come home at like 7 years old and draw in detail all the costumes and everything from a show. And so she was always an artist. She always had something in her hand. And so I followed after her, and as she babysat me or whatever, she would make color by number oil paintings for my sister and I to paint on, and so we were very close. And my plan was to be a writer, and she was going to be the artist, and I was going to write, and she was going to illustrate children's books. So that was kind of our plan. But she passed in my first year of college, so that sort of directed my life in a certain way. But I didn't do anything with writing or art for several years. And then we used to summer in Maine when I had children. And during that time, I decided to start drawing again. And that's when my note card business, which you've been so kind to have in your gallery. So I've had my note cards for well over 40 years that came out of that. So it started with some line drawings of my children at the beach. And I do, in looking back over it, I don't think I ever did it on purpose. Looking back over it, I feel like I'm always trying to do something that's elegant, that's very simple, that conveys a message simply and quietly. And I see that in all my artwork. I see it in music that I like. I see it's just a kind of a quiet peacefulness. These larger paintings that I have here have actually just come up in the last 5 years or so. I never thought about doing something big. I never thought of myself as an artist. I thought of my sister as the artist. So the note card business grew out of my love for writing and incorporated the pen and ink and watercolor with a watercolor wash that my sister did. So that was sort of a tribute to her. But with these bigger pieces, I've gone to more with the watercolor. And it's more of an observation rather than a choice that I see that I choose a very limited palette. And I like simple lines. I consider it sort of visual poetry, is a little bit the way I'm looking at it. And so in as few strokes as possible, I want to convey a feeling or a message. This one painting here is New Day Dawning, and it's one of my favorite pieces. I have them hung in my house, rotating through when they're not in galleries, and I love having this one in the house. When you walk in and you see the brush strokes, there's a quietness about them, I think that what creates that really peaceful feeling is that these are mostly long brush strokes, free brush strokes. They're not too overworked. And I also don't feel any need to cover up every last bit of the paper. I use the paper as my white in my design. It's just, it doesn't bother me that there's white paper there. That's perfectly fine. The one further to my left here, which is is Maine, because we spend our summers in Maine. I did grow to love the Maine coastline and the Maine. You know, when you say the word Maine as the state of Maine, images come to thought. And this again is this poetry that I'm talking about, is that one word can convey a whole thing, can convey a whole feeling. And these are my memories of Maine. And I love how the Maine coastline is these big rocks that kind of reach right up to the sea. So this one is called Maine, where the rock meets the sea. And so there's a very distinctive coastline in Maine. Just like if you were to say New England, there's a very special kind of feeling that you get and that you like to convey if you're talking about New England. So again, I like as little overworking as possible. So it's knowing when to stop. And I also have a couple of horses here.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. Right,
Okay.
go ahead, bring them up. So, I love how you explained the real peaceful character of your work and the simple brush strokes. It's evident in your note cards, it's evident in your wall art, and we have some other pieces on the wall here too. But when we're done with the interview, we'll take some shots close up of all the things that we have here, including your note cards, and we'll tag those at the end of the interview.
And
All right, so I see the simplicity that you talked about in your horse paintings, and I also see that same simplicity in this. I know that we have a couple of versions of this, the angel, and then also in your dancer up here, right? So even though a lot of what you do that I've seen is of the natural world, it's not all of the natural world.
No, that's
So then what motivates you in terms of what you choose as a subject?
Well, I would say I'm very intimately involved with most of my artwork. Maybe not all of it, but most of it. So the main pieces have like a place in my heart. They're just very meaningful to me. And so I'm looking for a feeling. I'm painting a feeling. So I'm just painting what would create that feeling. With my angel, for example, at that point I decided I was going to paint an angel. Lots of people like angels, maybe somebody would like an angel. But I didn't know where to go with it, and I played around with it. I want to stop and just say also, the angel and the horse in particular are monochrome, and I like monochrome. There's something also peaceful about monochrome. So that's all one color, just different values of one color. And so I was experimenting with the angel. Now, it came to be that it evolved. It just happens while I'm painting. I don't always have a complete idea in my mind of what it is that I'm going for. But it evolved this sense that she's holding the earth in her arms. And it was at a time, this was at a time that's been very difficult for us all. And, we're concerned about our planet and everything. And I just felt like this angel really loves this planet. And I was trying to think, what am I going to do, because I can't get a picture of an angel off the internet to figure out how, what an angel looks like. But I felt like it was full of love. And so it brought me to finding a picture of myself with my first child, who had just been born, so really in the tiny, tiny infant stage.
Cool.
And so that is my only self-portrait, but it's really an angel, and she loves that world like you love your firstborn child.
That's very
all
nice.
your children. So that's what I was trying to convey in that. This original, by the way, of this painting is as big as these bigger pictures. But at any rate, that's where the angel came to be. With the horses, I've always thought that horses were beautiful animals. I'm a little afraid of them. I don't ride horses, but I do love them, and I think they're beautiful creatures. And I found some pictures on the internet that I just kind of liked, so I just experimented with them. And this one, again, it's a monochrome, but I wasn't painting a horse. I was painting power and speed. So for me, I'm not thinking of it as the object so much as I want to get the feeling of it. So the brush strokes are very critical for the speed,
Right.
and for the power. You have kind of like stronger brush strokes to really bring out that powerful sense, and then the wind in its mane is critical, and so that's how that came to be. So this is actually my favorite. I have two, well, I actually have more than two, but I brought two horses. And here's the other horse.
Also monochrome.
It is monochrome as well. It's a different color, but it is monochrome. And again, it has the speed. This one is more speed. Well, it still has the power, the muscles that are coming out. So, and this one tends to be my audience's favorite one, and they like them both. I find people like both of them, but I like the other one, the more abstract one, and I don't know why. So, but I did make note cards of both of these because I like them. So
I'm with you on that too. I like them both, and I think the other one's a bit more evocative.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little more arty, and this is a little more portraying a horse. But, I don't know how I do with the horses in terms of anatomy and all of that. I wasn't as concerned about that as I was about
I don't think there's any issue at all. I think it's quite, they're both quite engaging, So, it's a pleasure to have you as one of the artists that shows in the gallery. And I know that you're a huge advocate for the gallery and for artists. I know that you support another gallery in Middletown. You have for quite a long time, Michelle's Gallery, which is how we met. So, if you could do something extraordinary with your art right now, what would it be?
Well, I don't know that I have anything extraordinary in mind, but I do have a painting that I loved very, very much that sold. It's really hard. It's hard to let go of these pieces, because what I'd like to do is do enough of them that it's not so painful to lose them when they sell. But I had one, I called it Tree of Life, and again it had the free-flowing branches. The tree was just free-flowing lines that created a tree. I would like to do another tree. I'm missing that tree very much. It would be a very different tree, I think. But I don't know if I could think of anything, any really big goal. I just think more. I want to do more. But for me also, art and writing, to me, is a conversation between me and an audience, or not an audience of, an audience of one, but it's a conversation between me and those who are viewing my work. And so I find it difficult to create when I don't have an audience. And I used to do fairs quite frequently, and we can't really do that anymore. But I miss that because I had people come into the booth and appreciate what I'm doing and feel it. Like someone walked in one time and said, "Oh, the piece just hit me right in the heart." And I had various people convey that same thought in different ways, but I saw how the peacefulness really touched them. And so I would like to do more of that. I think our life experiences are what inform our art. And I think the artists that do the best, well, I don't know if financially do the best, but I think the artists that touch our hearts and convey these messages. For me, art is expression more than creativity. I never think of myself as creative. I think I'm expressing maybe the ultimate creator of, and I'm expressing something about the essence of life. So that's kind of where my thought process is.
Lovely. Anything you'd like to add? Thank you for taking the time to do this.
I don't know that.
Well, this has been lovely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's nice to be able to talk to someone about it.
Well, I personally love, first of all, I love the artists who show in the gallery, of course. I love them, I love their work, and I don't always know that much until I have this kind of a conversation with someone. So I really enjoy this opportunity because I learn so much about you. And, that's just a gift to me and a gift to our audience as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.